It's July 7th, 2018. I'm walleye fishing on the west side mud of Lake Winnebago today. It's near a spot that I've been catching fish fairly regularly, not killing it or anything, 2 or 3 fish a fishing trip. If this is your first time here, I'm an avid fisherman. I live in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I fish the Winnebago chain as much as I can. In an effort to be a better fisherman, I'm documenting 100 fishing trips and putting the results on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button if you want to follow along. Hit the bell icon if you want to make sure you see all the videos. About 10 minutes into the troll, I decided I'm going to change out a lure. So as I'm bringing one of the lures up, got it almost to the boat and the white bass hit it. There's a rule of thumb on Lake Winnebago that when you're trolling for walleyes, if you're catching sheephead, you want to go a little faster, and if you're catching white bass, you want to go slower. In my experience, that's a fairly good rule of thumb. In this case, I was bringing the lure in, and so it was going faster than I was trolling. On this fish, I lost the board. It's something that happens occasionally. Sometimes if you break off a leader, the board can come off. But in this case, I just hooked it up wrong. The fish hit the lure and 2 clips released, and there's a safety mechanism on these church boards. There's a little groove that you put a pin through. So no matter what happens, as long as there's a lure on the end of the line, you should get the board back. In general, the back clip holds the board to the line. I have a special release on the front of the board that is designed to release the front clip. But in general, the back clip, should hold the board. But in this case, it didn't for some reason. In my haste to get it out there, I probably missed a step or two. I marked a waypoint when I lost the board, and then I circled around, still fishing. I circled around, and when I got near the waypoint again, I was able to see the board. And then I just trolled right up to it and used the landing net to pull the board in. It's a good idea to put your name and your number on the boards. You can use just a Sharpie magic marker to put your name on the board. A couple weeks ago on one of these trips, I actually got a tagged fish. I forgot to put that information in the video, but it had a little yellow tag on it and has the number, and it actually has an address that you can send the tag to. But I looked it up online, and there's an email address. I can just copy the number in the email and where I caught it and the length of the fish, and they mailed me back a certificate on when they tagged it, and just information about the fish. I did a little research on the information they're getting from these tags. The idea is they're using these tags to understand more about how fishermen are exploiting the fish. So if you catch a fish and you kill it and you send the tag back, the DNR knows, percentage of fish that are, taken out of the system. This information is important to the DNR to figure out what their management plan should be. If people are taking too many fish, maybe they reduce the limit. And that's something that was suggested earlier in the year. I was at a meeting with the DNR that they had discussed the management plan, and one of the proposals was to reduce the limit on Lake Winnebago from 5 fish to 3. They made the statement that Winnebago was really healthy. They had what's called good recruitment. When fish spawn and you get young fish from the spawning effort, if you get a lot of them, they say there's good recruitment. And they did say, you know, it was pretty healthy that way. But they also said that, you know, in the periods of really good fishing, like we're in now, that if people took fewer of the fish out, then the next thing that happens is there's going to be a period of possibly poor fishing. They reduced the number of fish that people were exploiting. The fishing would be more even across years. As an average fisherman, how many times have I really caught limits? Most of my fishing, I bring home 2 or 3 fish. And where it may be important is guides that, you know, stay on the fish and they bring, you know, a number of people in their boats. You know, it ends up being a lot of fish, and maybe that's a component. And the other is like the rafts on the Wolf River. There's a whole network of rafts up the Wolf River when the fish spawn, and they, you know, especially on the down run, that, you know, people presumably get a lot of limits and exploit a lot of the fish that way. And, you know, maybe changing the bag limit would protect the resource in that case. Like I said, I'm not sure, you know, normal fishermen, I'm not sure how many, you know, expect to get a limit every time they go out. I mean, maybe I'm less average than a normal fisherman. This was trip 55 of 100 of my effort to be a better fisherman. 3 countable walleyes today makes a total of 98. Hit the subscribe button if you want to follow along. With this information, let's get out and fish.